Welcome back, everybody, to Brown Bag Bets, powered by BetSports. We are your daily dose of quick hit handicapping and sports betting picks. I'm Alex Christensen, and joining me, as always, Mr. Andy Molitor. How much of the basketball did you watch last night? Everything went very well for yours truly, except maybe that second half under. It was a weird ending to the
Yeah.
game, but
Again, the wife took the good TV. I keep saying that, and I realize like the good TV, unless you want to get unless you're like the early adopter who's like, I need the 8K TV with like the curved screen. Like nowadays, you can get a really good TV for like $400 or $500. And I'm just realizing like I just need to get another good TV upstairs instead of dealing with the smaller one that I whine about because she has been a little bit addicted to the karate show. Remember, it's a problem. Like she
we're
never
all
watched.
addicted to Cobra Kai.
Yeah,
You
she
can't
never
escape
watched
it.
Cobra Kai, so she basically watched the whole first season last night.
That's how you got
And
to
I
do it.
watched with her because it's fun. It's such a bad show, but it is fun. And she's
Great
just like,
binge.
oh, and you know the final battle in season 1. She's like, oh, who are they gonna let win? It's like it's kayfabe, you know. It's all. Well, I mean, it is. It's a scripted show.
I'm so
but
jealous of her. I wish I could
I
re-experience all
know
this again.
it is. I do think and off track immediately. My favorite thing is Johnny Lawrence just being ignorant. When he has a meal with the Ecuadorian family next door, Miguel's parents, and they say, "I like these little bananas." He's like, "Oh, actually, these are plantains." And he says, "Oh, in English, we call them bananas."
Just anytime he has a banquet beer,
which is
can we supercut that every time he's holding a banquet beer?
Oh God, that'd be a 10-minute clip. Yeah, and we're also just killing time because there's not that many sports. I couldn't bring myself to bet Europa. Again, Monte Carlo's actually been weird on the men's side. I've enjoyed watching, that guy be very good. I think that might be a thing this year. It sucks that we don't have the other that guy at Monte Carlo. The women's is it looks like you actually have some women's tennis today. Let's just fire off of that because where is Billie Jean Cup? America, I'm assuming?
That's a great question. I just know they're playing on clay. Crap, I forget where they actually are playing. That's a great
lost the
question.
headphone.
Let me look this up. But the first one I do have, we actually have an ITF match that starts basically as soon as the show is finished here. They're going to be next up on court in Zaragoza, Spain. We're in Spain now for a little bit of clay here. Again, we're getting into the part of the year we'll start to move that European clay season. So you do have a couple decent players here that are going against one another, and I'll start with that. Over 21 games. Really like this total. Was looking for maybe an over 2.5 sets. Didn't really find many options there, and not really a price that I liked. But if you've got over 2.5 sets around 150, go ahead and scoop that up. That might be a few places. Again, I don't have everything, but I did see it a bunch and look just about everywhere. But 21, that's pasted pretty much across the board. You can find minus 110 if you look hard enough. 15 is fine. Try to avoid the 120s that are floating around out there, but it should just be an absolute battle. These two play some great tennis. And again, we're back on clay where you tend to see a little more back and forth here. 3 sets become a little more likely once you get on clay and things like that. So 21 looks like a great number. I had it closer to 21.5. Happy to bet that. And then, yes, the Billie Jean King Cup. Let's see. They will be in Astana at the Beeline Arena. Where do you think Astana is?
Astana sounds like a suburb of like Dallas.
It's in Kazakhstan.
Texas, Kazakhstan, honestly, same thing.
Pretty much. So, and that makes sense because the Kazakhstan team host Poland, and give me the Kazakh at home here. Yulia Putintseva, Magdalene again, indoor hard courts here. Putintseva actually tends to be a little bit better indoors. Her serve holds up a little better, and generally much better results on clay historically. Her and Lynette have played a handful of times, and generally on hard courts, Lynette pushes her, but on clay, she's been pretty comfortable the last few times. And Putintseva playing some good tennis. She's in solid form. Again, home court advantage here. Generally takes this event very seriously. If you don't know what the Billie Jean King Cup is, it is the Women's Tennis World Cup, but it's not nearly that exciting, and the setup of it's a little wonky, and we're kind of in the qualifier phase here, so it can be hard to handicap some of the motivation angles here, but both women generally play very well in this event. So happy to assume this is just kind of going to be a regular match. So give me Poots. I had this closer to minus 150, anything minus 125 or better. And that should be very early tomorrow morning around like 3 a.m. Eastern or so. Tennis.
Yeah,
We found
so
tennis.
not in Dallas. Not in Dallas at all,
Not
whatsoever.
Dallas, no.
Oh, also not in Dallas. Out on Hilton Head Island, the golf is underway. If you see me looking up, it's because one of my golfers is being shown on screen, and the TV above my regular monitor has that on. Oh, JT just missed an ace. And sometimes when you just miss an ace, the ball actually rolls off the green, which happened for him here. So he's playing decent. I have some outright sweats going early. I know that's you shouldn't do that on like a Thursday morning, but Victor Hovland, I bet Victor Hovland at 20 or 30, somewhere around there. I think he was about 30 to 1. He's 4 under through 12, 1 off the lead. Your leaders currently Joel Dahman, Brian Harmon, and Ben Martin, just like we all thought.
Joel Dahman, Mr. First Round.
Mr. First Round, Mr. Bucket Hat, looking pretty cool today. Harmon was actually a guy I bet against in a matchup. So one of my matchups is not going very well at the moment. But to be fair, the other golfer hasn't started. He could go 10 under on this round. Maybe that's what I'm going to roll with here. And then Matthew Fitzpatrick ended up being our one and done for the me and Cal and J Maz and Will Brinson all split a big one and done that we like to figure out every week. So Fitzpatrick playing well too. That also makes me happy. I do have one matchup. This is the only first round matchup I played. Everything else was outrights and full tournament matchups. I do have one that starts this afternoon. This is more of a fade on a guy than a bet on Cage Lee. Kyung-Hoon Lee is better than Billy Horschel, I believe, especially in the course fit for this, but it's not like he's good. He's not someone I'm thinking that's going to compete here. I'm not worried about him like, oh man, I should have bet him first round leader. I just expect Billy Horschel to struggle here with the ball striking, especially over the last, X amount of rounds. Not only just ball striking in general, but off the tee has been rough. You do club down a lot here. I mean, anyone who's watched early has seen Justin Thomas, who can hit the ball a country mile, club down quite a bit. He's taken 3-wood a lot. Which is fine. I mean, it's still working out. If he can make some putts, I almost put a live bet on Siwoo Kim. Jesus, I've seen that guy miss like 13 putts by an inch. So that's the fun part about watching. It makes you want to live bet everybody who's almost winning. But despite all that, it is important to be good in your off the tee stuff here, because off the tee isn't just driving distance, driving accuracy. It is, all off the tee shots that you're taking over the last 50 rounds is what I'm looking at. And that's going to include a lot of shots that you're taking off the tee when you're clubbing down. So I don't expect him to play well here. I've seen this be a problem for some of the guys who've been wild off the tee already this morning. You're into some forced layups. There's some fairway bunkers that force you into layups. And I expect quite a bit of that here. So Kyung-Hoon Lee over Billy Horschel. I don't even know if I put a price on the damn thing. There one on the screen? I can't find the tab anymore. I'm lost right now, Noops. I have too many tabs open.
It happens.
What is going on that I can't find StreamYard?
Give us a guess.
It's -1 something. -120. And then Hilmers is talking. We're going to get to the NBA next. Got a lot riding tomorrow. OKC to make the playoffs. Bulls to make the playoff. Heat to miss the playoffs. Those are some big numbers. I'm cheering for all of that to happen. And I said this to Drew.
And all that happened?
Drew, we were planning to, Heat to miss, Bulls to make, OKC to make.
Nice.
All three of those could happen. Yeah. I know I should cheer for the Timberwolves, but I said this to Drew without even thinking about the fact that tomorrow's game would be against the Timberwolves. I said this pre-games yesterday. I said, I am cheering for OKC to just get in and, get their 4 games essentially.
So you don't have to go to a Timberwolves playoff game.
Well, no. I think I like OKC. I think it's fun. I think they're such a fun young team. They have all these likable young players, and I just want them to get like playoff experience a year ahead of schedule, because we didn't really expect this team to. I don't know. What were your expectations going into the season after we had the injuries right off the bat? Like, I didn't expect them to have an actual feasible run at winning a spot in the play-in tournament. So I think it'd be cool if they could take it down. And yeah, if Minnesota does win, like, do I really want to go to a game and watch them just get fucking waxed by Denver? Like, Drew made this point. I don't want to take credit for him. He's like, the true winner of the play-in tournament is Denver. Because they either get a team with a bunch of like 16-year-olds on it, or they get Minnesota, who is missing like three decent contributors at this point now.
Yeah, it's really fun. Oklahoma City, I expected them to be frisky. I didn't bet an under there, but I didn't expect them to be this good. For this team to be as competent as they are defensively for such a young team is wild. It usually takes guys a couple of years to kind of learn how to move like that, but we saw that last night. I mean, they win that game because every single time the Pelicans caught the ball, there's a guy right in their face. Their switches were really good. And again, there's a lot going on the inside. Valanciunas had 18 rebounds. You can kind of do whatever you want in there. But if you can mess up the perimeter, that really gives you the opportunity to force turnovers. It's a good way to play, basically for a team that doesn't really have a center, and any center they do have sort of keeps getting hurt. But I just certainly didn't expect the Thunder to be this good. And yeah, we have a lot of really nice positions here. So if you're on the preseason parlay that basically we made of the Timberwolves, Nuggets, Sixers, and Bucks to make the playoffs, right around even money. Again, surprised that it's honestly still alive, as weird as Minnesota's been. We have that in our pocket, but then we also have, Andy, the Oklahoma City Thunder to make the playoffs at 7.5 to 1. So you should be in good shape.
One of those
there.
is happening. Yeah. Literally.
To be honest, I kind of prefer the Timberwolves, but Oklahoma City would be fun. One of them would be a bigger win for me. And then on the other side, yeah, our Heat to miss the playoffs bet is still alive. All those 1-point games that they made through, we've still got a chance for that. But yeah, a lot of options here. And let's say, for example, Andy, you just have the Heat to miss the playoffs and then the Thunder to make. You could do the double hedge parlay, basically, where you take the Wolves and the Heat and put them together. Parlay that's like plus 120. And basically in that scenario, Heat lose, you win your Heat to miss the playoffs bet. Heat win and the Timberwolves win, you win the hedge parlay. Timberwolves miss, you at least win the Thunder bet. There's a lot of ways to sort of cover yourself up there. But should be two pretty fun games. And I haven't bet anything yet. Need to dig into some of the matchups, but I might just continue to play the underdogs. I don't know if necessarily the underdogs are going to win outright like they just keep doing outside of the Lakers there. But underdogs have been great. They've covered every spread. So I don't know. These look just a touch high to me, but we'll see.
Yeah, 3 outright wins in an overtime game. Yeah, the underdogs. I almost went the other way. I want to, like, they're due. Should we just bet the favorites? That's such a bad strategy. Don't do that. And to Noop's point, I mean, anyone who's known me, has seen any content or talked to me, knows I'm such team never hedge. I just hate it altogether. But I have been known to do that one, especially back when we did. Back when I do those previews with Kelly, Big Ten Watto for tennis, and we'd get there were a few weeks where we'd get like 2 guys into the final, in 2 different ATP tournaments. And at that point, if you have a guy at 12 to 1 and a guy at like 20 to 1 to win the tournament, I'm absolutely fine parlaying their 2 opponents in the finals,
especially if they're favorites and you get a big fat number.
Just as a like, oh my god, like, can you imagine both of these guys losing? I'd like at least something to happen, and then even if you do go, you're in a no lose position at that point if you stake it right. Where even if they go 1-1 and you lose the parlay, you've hit a 12 to 1 or 20 to 1. I know we've done that in the past. I'm comfortable doing that as a like, I don't want to be just my whole day ruined on Sunday kind of thing. And we've come so far and made it to the goddamn finals of whatever. I think one of these weeks was maybe the New York Open back when Riley Opelka ended up winning that, which was
like 4 or 5.
I'm not even sure that's an event anymore. They always move this shit around. So
yeah, a lot of options. Again, think about what you want to do. Do you want to cover your stake? Do you want to try to lock in some stuff? Because you got some pretty nice options here if we've got everything settled out. So, yeah, we'll see. More on those games tomorrow. Holt asked about the Lakers-Grizzlies series. Man, that number looks really good. I was really surprised, actually, that Memphis wasn't a bigger favorite in the series. And yeah, the total in the first game, 228, 229, a little bit high. Again, I want to do a little bit more work on that. So we'll have a bunch of that stuff tomorrow. But, yeah, I think leaning towards the under there for sure. Not sure about that series, though.
Yeah, I haven't done any series
Anthony Davis awards.
It's one of my favorite things too is make some parlays on like under six and or under 5.5 games, over minus 1.5 games. Like, I don't know what the price will be for Nuggets Wolves or Nuggets Thunder, but there's a good chance I would if you gave
Denver
me
minus 1,000.
if you gave me Denver minus 2.5 games, like anywhere, what would you price that at? Denver to win, either sweep or go 4-1. Do you minus 150?
Yeah, it's got to be somewhere in that range. I mean, it's
if
maybe
it's
not
close
that
to
deep, but it's somewhere in that range.
If it's close to minus 120, I will probably take some Denver.
If it's Minnesota, it might be closer to 125. If it's Oklahoma City, it might be minus 160.
Yeah, that would be the problem with that young team like that. They'd probably be even a bigger favorite. But I do like those. I'll have some serious prices. I'm always a fan of those. That's and the other thing too, and this shouldn't matter at all. Back to the hedging, but like with your Bulls ticket, it does get in your head a little. It's like I've been sitting on this motherfucker since November. Like it does. If you've just come so far, it's like, man, I got one more step to the top of the mountaintop. It's going to drive me nuts if I don't at least eke out a little equity out of this. It shouldn't matter. And maybe actually, math-wise, maybe it should, because you sat some of your, you parked some of your bankroll for 6 damn months. You should try to get something out of that. It's not the same as, taking a big price on a baseball game and then, the underdog, 2-1 underdog ends up losing in the bottom of the ninth or something. That's a tough break. This is
you get a chance to avoid going broke. And that's what's always good. Not losing money is a huge part of this, because if you lose all your money, then you don't have any money to bet with.
It is hard to bet without a bankroll. I will tell you that. It's always been a thing. Hawks here. Holt says the Celtics are minus 2.5, minus 140 versus the Hawks for reference.
Yeah, that feels like that would be kind of where the Minnesota price would be.
I still might bet that, and I'll probably bet Denver sweep, because Denver, like, correct me if I'm wrong. My last NBA thought before I have gone well beyond my my understanding, Denver kind of has a bad bench, but that's something that matters when you play a good team, not when you're playing like the 8th seed. Like, they should still be able to just kind of take care of business with a much better starting lineup and essentially an MVP on the start.
My only concern with betting that Denver sweep is I wonder if they'll just kind of punt a game in Oklahoma City. I mean, if they get to OKC, they're up 3-0. That fourth game could really be kind of a look ahead situation where, maybe they're not resting guys, God forbid, but that makes you a little nervous. That's a tough arena to play. And again, like we saw at the Thunder last night, as good as you're going to be, you have to be good. And if anything sort of falters here a little bit, there could be a game where Denver turns the ball over too much and things just get a little out of hand. So I think, the minus 2.5 is a little bit better, but I don't mind a little bit of sweep. It's not the best road situation for Denver.
And again, price dependent. And that's the thing too with the joke, gentleman's sweep is almost like a tongue-in-cheek term, but it doesn't happen because a team is gentlemanly. It happens because a team is like, oh, we're beating the shit out of this team, and they take their foot off the gas a little. It's not like a case of we feel bad for this team. No one's ever going to just let another team win because they feel bad. It's absolutely, like you said, a little bit of a look ahead to the second round, something along those lines. We'll get deep into it a little tonight, and not even tonight, because our guest is at a weird time zone. But Drew and I, and more so Drew, I'm just going to ask dumb questions because I'm not a huge NBA guy, but we'll be doing some NBA content tonight on the deep dive. Actually, and it's not if you're on the West Coast, it's like 3 p.m. I think it's 5 p.m. my time. I'm going to get home early, watch some more Karate Kid, baby. Let's go.
I'm so jealous. There's so much that's going to happen. She doesn't even know. I mean,
the end of season 1, when Kreese walks in, and she's like, "Oh shit!" Yeah,
it only gets better.
You have that like 30 times. Like, oh, Terry Silver's back. So, all right, I digress.
Maybe I'm going to watch that this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll call it a day. We'll see you guys tomorrow.